All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Correct Loser. How are you today? That sounds awesome. So, folks, I'm on day 3 of having no internet. Spectrum is my internet provider, and on Tuesday, the internet wasn't working, so I called them, and they said, "Oh yeah, there's a planned service in your area." No email saying, "Hey, we're planning a service in your area," or anything. So I thought, all right, I'll be down for a couple hours. All day yesterday, still down. I don't know if it's because of the tropical storm. A couple weeks ago, I kept seeing news stories that some people still didn't have their internet and TV back from that. So maybe they had to, I don't know. It's been a nightmare. But I've been trying to talk about Scott Peterson for the past couple days. Most of you probably saw, but at the beginning of this week, he's no longer on death row anymore. That's a change, right? Earlier this week, a Supreme Court judge in California overturned the sentence, citing jury selection issues. You've probably heard about those issues at some point if you followed the case, but what they're talking about is during the jury selection process, apparently one of the potential jurors filled out a questionnaire saying something like, normally I'm totally against the death penalty. I mean, completely against it, but I think in this case, I could maybe make an exception. And I guess that should have been enough to disqualify them as a juror. It didn't, and now here we are 18 years later. I don't think he was anywhere close to being executed anyway. California hasn't executed anyone since 2006, and I can't imagine that they ramp up executions smack dab during a global pandemic. They just announce, "Greetings, everybody. Even though COVID has really thrown a wrench into all types of government on every level, we've decided that we're actually going to start executing everyone. Thank you." And so I really don't think he was anywhere near being executed, especially being in California. But I guess he's not on death row anymore. So what does that mean for his stay in prison? I feel like unless you're executed, and I guess the stress of your death haunting you in the night and in your sleep, at all times, death is after you. But other than that, other than death haunting your every second right on your shoulder, I've heard that death row is possibly a better situation than the other parts of the prison because you get your own room, it's quiet, I think you get better food. So if this is where it stops, where it's just like, okay, because of jury selection issues, we can't have this guy on death row. It's not justice. And so, all right, you pull him out. If this is where it stops, I don't know if his situation really improved that much. Like I said, I've seen like documentary type things where people that have really long prison sentences do something in prison to get themselves into death row. So it's like, all right, I don't have a cellmate whacking off next to me anymore, taking poops in the toilet. I got my own room. So, but maybe he's lonely. I don't know. So, what else do I got? I know it would. Oh yeah. So, this death sentence is overturned. Make no mistake about it, people. I think we are looking at Scott Peterson and company. I think his sister is leading the charge. We are looking at their big run. This is their last fight, why Scott's got a little gas left in the tank. And so you got to think, first step in their process of getting the whole conviction reversed, you got to think the first step is we got to get rid of that death sentence. Ugh. That is a pesky, stifling death sentence. It's depressing. We got to get rid of it. And so now the death sentence is at least put on hold. The prosecutors, I heard, it's going to be a process. They have a shot to reinstate it. But as of right now, so you got to think, okay, what's their next move? they need a new trial. They were not happy with the last trial. So you got to think, they're thinking, okay, we got wind in our sails. We got to win with the death penalty. The judge didn't shut us down, flush us down the Watts. Okay. Next step, we need a new trial. That last trial sucked. Outside, it looked like a music festival. It wasn't fair. The jury selection was crap. They took the jury that was crap and they brought them to some warehouse and let them poke around the boat. You can't do that. You can't poke around the boat. We need a new trial. So I think that's what they're going to be going with. And I could see them getting it. I think we could possibly see Scott Peterson 2, 2020. Wouldn't that just be... I know the chances of them getting a new trial are, not great, and the chances of that trial having the conviction reversed are also pretty low, and if all of that did happen, it would take a really long time, and what I'm about to say isn't realistic, but wouldn't it be kind of fitting, or just a perfect cap to this bizarro year that we're having of 2020, to have it capped with Scott Peterson being free? Like, I picture on New Year's Eve, a red convertible sliding into a hotel in Vegas, just playing Glenn Miller's In the Mood, and then a guy gets out, and the guy working the valet takes the keys and goes, yes, sir, name? And the man slides down his COVID mask and goes, Peterson. Slides it back up, and then that night he tries to call Amber. Amber! Amber! Amber, can you hear me? Happy New Year! Yeah, I'm at the Venetian. It's a Paris-themed hotel in Vegas. Yeah, I'm at the small replica Eiffel Tower. It's beautiful. Amber! Amber just hangs up. It's like, Amber! Doot! So, I guess for this, I've followed this case since 2006, right? And I have always been, I think I've told this on the last video I did. My sister, I think, listened to a podcast or the Hulu documentary, something that I hadn't listened to, and she called me and was like, have you followed the Scott Peterson case? I'm like, definitely. And she goes, I think he's innocent. And this was a couple years ago, and there's a whole new kind of crop of people that think he's totally innocent. I think that happens anytime there's a case like this where the public was really against Scott. I mean, like I said, it looked like a Grateful Dead concert outside of the courtroom when he was sentenced. So I think anytime you get that, it's natural for a chunk of the population to be like, wait a minute, all of these people are just ready to fry this guy? All right, let's take another look at it. And then a lot of people get hung up on the fact there's no forensic evidence. I, to be honest, don't get too hung up on that because, the way it seems to me it happened in his home. His DNA is going to be there, and I don't know, I've talked about this on other videos, but a couple nights ago when I was trying to put the research for this video together, I had searched, I don't know, on like Scott Peterson appeal or something, and I found a YouTube channel that I think has to be run by Scott's sister, and they posted a couple videos 4 years ago, and then it's nothing. And then a couple months ago, they started posting again. And like one thing they posted, I was just looking around that, and they posted the full chunk of his interrogation, which that's one that I have been wanting to watch for almost 20 years, and there's always been like a little 10-minute chunk of it up. And then a couple years ago, either the Today Show or Good Morning America put another chunk, like 3 minutes up, and we're like, another 3 minutes were released. Well, it's up, and it only has like 3,200 views, so I don't think a lot of people have seen it. So I was like, oh man, here we go. And it was pretty anticlimactic. A lot of the big moments we've seen already, but one thing I did notice for watching the interrogation for the first time is he does this, it's It's a very calming, reassuring, of course, yes. And so, you can't really tell if he's lying because you just don't know. But he's answering, he's very calm. And then it gets to a part where they go, how's your marriage going? Is it going well? You're not having any trouble? And he goes, And it's like, okay. So we know the marriage was in the crapper. He was all into Amber. Amber, I'm in front of the Eiffel Tower. Woo! So we know at the time of the interrogation that was a lie. And to hear that same pitch and that same tone and speed and delivery of that, I just can't get on his side. I really, like I said, I've been following this for so long. A couple nights ago, I almost just, to shake things up, was like, you know what? I'm going to go into watching some of these videos thinking, maybe he is wrongly convicted, and it just all of the circumstantial evidence. And I'm going to go into it on that side of things. Like, is this guy really sitting in there? And I can't make it through. I can't make it through the timeline of the whole thing without my alarms of going off, just going, nope. So I think I'm glad that I'm just sitting over here and my opinion on the whole thing makes zero difference to the case, because if there's another trial, I think all bets are off. But the things that keep me from even being able to entertain, like, man, maybe he didn't do it, are one, and let me know, if you disagree with me and you're sitting there and you've listened to a podcast and you are positive that you think that he was wrongly convicted, let me know how you, I guess, justify these things in your head, or because it's just too many coincidences for me. One, it's like, all right, if you're gonna take Lacey's dead body to the warehouse to get into the boat, there has to be something to get a body out there. If there wasn't, and then it's like all right, so now I'm just mumbling. What I'm trying to say is, like, the umbrellas that he brought from his backyard that day, that's even right there, that's almost too much of a coincidence for me. It's like the one day that is in question where you maybe brought your wife out and dumped her in the marina. It's a day that you had these giant umbrellas that you were transporting. If you think about it, what is, if you were trying to get rid of a body, what is one household object that you could put a body in? And really, the more I think about it, umbrellas is the most perfect thing. And if you're walking out and there's an umbrella sitting there, there's two next to each other, and it's kind of lumpy, and a neighbor walks by, it's easy to say, hey, good morning, I'm just moving my umbrellas on Christmas Eve. And so even that right there, I'm like, that's the day. But okay, let's try to get past that. The umbrellas, all right? The big thing in their timeline, which I think is narrated by his sister on that same YouTube channel, Scott Peterson Appeal, they go through the timeline, and a big chunk of the timeline is, that morning, and what it seems like is their reasons that they're chalking up of, like, listen, there's no way this could have happened, is that there was a curling iron on the counter in the bathroom, and the day before, I guess Lacey had learned how to curl her hair in a certain way, and then the next day, the day in question, Scott said something to Lacey's mom like, Lacey looked so cute sitting in the bathroom curling her hair. And they used that in this timeline of, like, see, the curling, Scott said, it sounded a little robotic when he said it, but he said that she was curling her hair and she looked cute, and the curling iron sitting right there, so Looks like innocence to me. And then it goes on to, okay, well, she logged on her computer at 8 or 8 something. It's like, well, it still could have happened, right? I don't know. And then it's like, then Martha Stewart was on later, and Scott mentioned that he heard cookies and meringue on Martha Stewart. And there was meringue and cookies mentioned on Martha Stewart that day. Oh my gosh. And so if he knew there were cookies and meringue mentioned on Martha Stewart at 9:48, how could Lacey have been dead already? And it's just like, maybe he just wrang her neck during Martha Stewart. He just heard cookies and meringue. I mean, isn't every episode of Martha Stewart about cookies and meringue? Like they say in the timeline, like, and Martha Stewart's episode on December 24th did mention cookies and meringue. Uh-oh. And it's like, is this the stuff that like my sister and the people that think he's innocent are latching on to? Because it just doesn't do it for me. I really don't feel like I have any skin in the game where I'm like, I really want him to be, guilty, or I want him to be innocent. But I really, like I said, I just can't get over some of this stuff. Okay, so the big old patio umbrella is perfect for moving a body. Okay, I'll try to, that's a coincidence. All right, the fact that she got on her computer for 5 minutes and Martha Stewart mentioned cookie meringue. All right, fine. Next thing that makes my BS meter go off is in the interrogation, which I didn't know until like a day or two ago. Like I said, is the house was professionally cleaned by a cleaning lady the day before. And right after he moves the big umbrellas outside, he fills a mop bucket and brings it inside. And the interrogator brings, in one of the only times, in my opinion, the interrogator pushes a little bit. He mentions, like, isn't it a little crazy to have the house professionally cleaned and then a day later in the morning to fully mop? And he said, nah, she's crazy with the pets. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that one, maybe if the dog ran out in the mud or something and really tracked it in, but I still think you would just, since it was a full-blown clean the day before, that you might just use a little paper towel or something. It's just, again, it's another coincidence of a lot of times when you strangle someone out, they lose their bowels, just a million terrible things can happen. And so right at that point, and he's bringing a mop bucket in. Also, too, I lived with an OCD mother to the point where if we tracked mud in and got it on the rug or something, she would dramatically cry while scrubbing it, going, my rug! Like it was a huge deal. And even my mom wouldn't do a full-blown mop bucket mop for just like the dogs tracking something in. Did the cats all throw up at the same time? I don't know. That's just another where it's like full house clean, and then in the morning the next day you need a mop bucket. All right, but I'll get past that too. And then you go to the marina, or you go to his warehouse with the boat, which it's the first time you're using the boat on a freezing day. And I feel like after that, I've talked about it a lot. And everybody knows kind of the circumstantial evidence with having a boat the day, or using your boat the first time that your dead pregnant wife ends up in the San Francisco Bay. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where it goes from here. I think that we will see a shot at getting a new trial next by Scott Peterson and company that are going for this. And they get a new trial, I think they're probably going to want it to be moved somewhere, or maybe enough time has gone by where it's could happen right there in California. But what a crazy story. Like I said, instead of, if you disagree with me and you really strongly feel like he's innocent, let me know how you get there, how you justify a lot of those coincidences, because I can't get past them and I'm just truly interested. So I'm going to cut it off there. I probably won't be able to post this because there's no more internet where I live. So that's perfect. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you next time. Why? Stiving why? Shamita. All right. Just as a last bonus, I'm going to let you guys check out Little T. I'll do a full update on her soon and her health or anything, but let's just do a little T. All right, guys. I'll see you soon.